What are some cheap fun hobbies? PC gaming with an outcome. I was able to upgrade my graphics card and my case so my Steam backlog looks better. Instead of just playing, I am taking screenshots and trying to make something creative, e.g., turn screenshots into a comic. Start making your own YouTube content for fun. Immersive games I play: Skyrim, Elite, Dangerous and Kenshi. Start creative writing. Read short stories. See what makes them tick. Look at YouTube videos on writing. Start writing either physically or on your device, PC. Tons of subreddits to find inspiration. Create your own TV show, movie. Write a screenplay for the movie you would pay money to see. Maybe adapt a comic book that hasn't been done yet. Create a TV show with a Bible, sizzle reel, maybe a few episodes and a story arc. It may not get made as the industry isn't open to outsiders, but at least you created something. Cardistry. Use a pack of cards to learn how to do flourishes and clever shuffles. Look at YouTube for the Vert Singapore-based cardists and Dan and Dave. Improve your handwriting. There are subreddits that give hints on how to improve and also recommend pens, fountain pens. Podcast. Record yourself and put it online or listen to someone else's. I recommend Behind the Bastards, Mission to ZYXX, Ground Zero with Clyde Lewis Conspiracy, Higherside Chats, anything from Art Bell and Coast to Coast Conspiracy, UFO and Paranormal, Reading. Find a list of books to read before XYZ and read something you have not read before. Look up a book you like on Goodreads and see recommendations. Astronomy. As it's not so cold outside, maybe look up at the sky. You don't necessarily need a telescope or binoculars. There are astronomy sky map apps to guide you. Maybe even try and memorize the main constellations and try to draw them and remember the star names. Journaling. At the start of the day, just write down what happened the previous day or about a dream you just had. This is from Julia Cameron's The Artist's Way. You don't need the book, but I hear it's great for creative people. Virtual travel. Pick a country, city and look at YouTube videos about it. You'll find walking tours and all kinds of stuff. Used to live in London, England, so the videos of people driving round the city brought back so many memories. Disc golf. Easy to find a couple used discs for less than $10. Also, if you just talk to people at public courses, a lot will be willing to let you borrow and or keep some they don't use. You will run into some jerks, but I have found most to be pretty nice and helpful. Zentangling. Very relaxing. You only really need a piece of paper and a pen. Nature observation and journaling. Go hang out in the same spot at the same time for the same duration. Once a week. Document what you observe, then contemplate it. Doesn't cost a thing, is educational and relaxing, and will give you a bigger appreciation of Gaia. Laying in bed all day staring at the ceiling. Knitting, crochet. It starts to be more expensive when you start to obsessively buy yarn and needles or hooks. I'm a knitter with a closet full of yarn and needles. D&D. The figures are completely optional and the rulebook is online for free and is also frequently on sale. I DM now, so I have multiple books, but when I started I spent $25 on the PHB and I was set. Wood carving. Piece of wood, your favorite knife. Engage. Slackline. You can get a beginner-friendly line for under $50 that would provide endless hours of entertainment. Purchasing climbing webbing and carabiners for a primitive setup isn't too expensive either, depending on how long you want the line. Geocaching. Basically a highly tech treasure hunt. You use the GPS on your phone to find hidden caches. No real treasures to take. Frequently a logbook to sign. Sometimes a take one, leave one cheap toys. Perfect for getting out but staying isolated. Geocaching.com. You'll be surprised how many caches there are close by. Hiking. Find parks or trails in your area and check them out. There are a lot of cool places to explore. Planning revenge. Costs nothing, brings great joy. Beekeeping. Best part about doing it yourself is you get to eat the bees. Programming. Cooking can be a pretty cheap hobby. I mean, you have to eat anyway. Might as well enjoy the processes of making your own food. Color in coloring books. I went to town on adult coloring books with mandalas while tripping on shrooms. Hey, I nominate shrooms as a cheap hobby. Photography. Even a smartphone is enough to capture some great memories. Dungeons and Dragons. All the resources you need can be found online. The only thing you really need is a few people to play with and a set of dice which are less than $10. Now that everyone is quarantined, we play using voice chat and it works surprisingly well. Journaling. Get a notebook and a pen or even a pencil. Crack it open, skip the first page, and start writing on the second. That takes the pressure off, and if you do it enough, the journal becomes a companion. Walking. Boots can be expensive but they last long, and also if you want more than that you can get waterproof socks which are cheap. Chess. Proper yo-yoing, not the ones that go down then straight up. It takes time to master tricks, but once you string those tricks together it looks really impressive. Drawing, bird watching, collage from old magazines, paper mache, writing, stargazing, insect collecting, dirt polishing. One of my favorites is making stop-motion films with clay. You can get decent clay for around $3. And any camera can do the job, including your phone. You simply move the subject around taking pictures of each tiny movement, then compile the pictures in a video editing software. Free ones like Windows Movie Maker work. Cooking is a great hobby that can actually save you lots of money. Jogging and calisthenics is a physical hobby that costs very little. Puzzles. Disc golf. I've actually ended with more discs than I started with. Learning old strong man tricks. Hold a chair down with one pinky. Rip a phone book in half. So on. There are guides online. There is no greater power move than to be able to pick up a thick pile of papers and just rip them clean in two. Absolute nightmare trying to find an old phone book these days. They've all been ripped in half. Origami. Stargazing. Anything with a phone. You already have a phone and you can do almost anything on it. Photography, games, writing, design, etc. Bird watching. Making little friendship bracelets. You can get a ton of embroidery thread for like $5 and you can make all kinds of colors. Yoga, origami, reading, gaming, shoplifting, writing, drawing, arson, gardening, scrapbooking, knitting, grave robbing, photography, and running. Running, especially now, you can literally keep your distance from people and better yourself at the same time. And not a bad idea to build up that cardio in case shit starts truly popping off. I'd rather be fit during dark times than fat. You'll likely live longer. Cries in Magic: The Gathering. Opening an Instagram account that focuses on a very specific subject, then only posting pics if that subject, for example interesting building facades in your city, or abandoned umbrellas, or people wearing purple, whatever interests you. It becomes a fun scavenger hunt for you, gives an excuse to go on long aimless walks, and develops a unique little collection that doesn't take up room or cost money. I'm learning how to paint with watercolor and it's a blast. Got a set of paint and brushes for under $20 on Amazon. Climbing's pretty cheap. The gear costs around $100 minus $200 total. There's a huge amount of variability there. Bouldering with shoes or barefoot and a chalk bag is cheap. A full big wall setup is a very different story. Yoga, bird watching, cycling, writing and drawing, I think, are both very cheap and fun. The obvious barriers are I can't even draw a stick figure, or I know make sentences good. Well, you're not supposed to be good at things the first time you try them, so stuff that away. Secondly, you can do both hobbies on napkins with the stub of a pencil if you really wanted to, so it's cheap as dirt. Like many rewarding hobbies, it's an issue of time and dedication more than anything. Can't draw from your mind's eye. Copy from a picture. Real artists do that all the time. They're called references. Can't draw from a picture. Trace from a picture. Just like you did the alphabet when you were little. So you learn familiarity with your pencil and how lines go together. Don't even try shading yet if you don't want to. Some people like pencil, others ballpoint pen, felt pen, artist's ink, whatever. A toothpick in coffee even counts. With writing, try poetry if you like, there are no rules. It's pure text-based expression. Try it following rules. And then try it following no rules. String pretty words together that should have nothing to do with each other and see what happens. Esoteric Crypt Diesel. What the is that? I don't know. Sounded neat. Or, try writing microfiction. A personal favorite of mine. Microfictionmondaymagazine.com who, Huff has some examples across all genres and tastes. And writing microfiction is a fun way to have a complete written product at the end of your 5 to 60 minute endeavor. Just make sure you always write for yourself, and not imaginary peers and readers. If you want to be the most pleased. When I was young, I would write long, winding, endless stories just for the sake of length. If microfiction isn't your thing, it was like running through a fantasy video game with no quest, just to see where I end up. Can you hit 10 pages? 50? 200? The writing was atrocious, but it still took me somewhere, so the magic must have worked. I hope this textwall helped. I'm not great at either hobby, but even professionals feel like imposters, or like they still have so much to learn, or they're not good enough, etc. There's not really a skill ceiling, and the skill floor is lower than you think. Like most anything on this list, it helps if you put aside preconceptions of the hobby and just try it with an open mind. Writing, you don't need much to do it, and the more you write, the better you get at it. Detailing your car. Cross-stitching. Bouncing a ball against a wall. I don't know why, but I can do that for hours and it's extremely simple. Learn a language. Duolingo is addictive. Finding new music. Even though I use Spotify, I've realized that I actually discover new artists on YouTube more often. Counted cross-stitch and podcasts. And then you've got thoughtful gifts ready for the holidays.